Hello folks, I am so excited to do this video. I think it would be a very fun idea to show you guys me drawing. A lot of people have mentioned it in the past, so I thought that it would be something fun to do. And what else to do except for talk over the video? And what could we ever possibly talk about? Well, I was thinking about some interesting story times that I might have, and I was like, what stuff has happened in my life that's interesting? What stuff has happened in my life that's interesting that revolves tattooing in some capacity? And then I realized that my apprenticeship was very weird in a lot of different ways, as apprenticeships tend to be. That's not particularly surprising or weird or unique or interesting. That's very much the standard, it seems like, at least unfortunately for a lot of people. It tends to be a little much, a little hectic, a little crazy town. But with that said, I do have some notable stories from that time, and I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the stories, and then I realized that they were all during my apprenticeship times, and I realized that they were I feel like almost somewhat related in some sense. But nonetheless, we've got 3 story times, and we are going to begin. And our first story today is a very fantastical story. This one has to do with, let's see, which one should I do first? Okay, there's a short one that's not as exciting as the other ones, but I witnessed someone getting a tattoo. So, for our first story. So, I was hanging out, doing my apprenticeship, tattooing people for cheap, trying to figure it out, trying to tattoo myself, all the different things. There's all sorts of different people that came into this building. There's a lot of random people that were just kind of, I guess, friends of the shop or friends of certain people in the shop, and they would show up fairly often. And I remember this one guy. He showed up a couple times, and I saw him get tattooed, and he was one of those dudes that mainly had, tattoos in kind of unique areas. Like, he had a face tattoo, he had hand tattoos, and that's about all I could, really remember. I remember all sorts of weird, random little things about this dude, but nonetheless, he was a reasonable guy. He was just a dude, and that's where he happened to get tattoos. Alright, whatever. And somehow, during this day, I got to hearing that one of these apprentices that I was doing my apprenticeship with was going to tattoo this guy. And I was like, And then I heard where this individual was going to get tattooed. A specific body part that you use for specific tasks. It's a tube of sorts. Nonetheless, this tube, he was gonna get this tube tattooed. This tube had a specific type of rope that one would use to do something very unfavorable to themselves. Yes, it was a noose on the top part of this tube. So, I heard, at least, I didn't hear quite that that's what it was at the time, but I heard that this was happening, and I was like, this is the only opportunity that this is going to happen, perhaps. I need to say something about this. So I went up to this individual that was going to tattoo, and I was like, hey, and this I think was kind of stated before, hey, if anyone wants to be there in any capacity, it could be a learning opportunity, because this individual was going to do it for free as a learning opportunity to figure out how to tattoo this area. Again, I got to thinking, I don't know if I'll ever see this again. I need to understand how this works. I'm so intrigued by how this is possible. So it was to be done. Don't judge me fully for existing in the shop and this being my apprenticeship. I did my best, okay? I was 18, I was new. This individual was walking around with a large bottle of whiskey, trying to psych themselves, I guess, up for this event, and get ready for it. This man, me, the artist, and one other guy were all sitting in this room with his tube wrapped around a large thing of cling wrap with this rope stencil placed on top. He had to first prepare himself in the bathroom. Supposedly you want to get in the middle, halfway there, and then you get to tatting, and that's indeed what happened. I was sitting there. We were all there to support bro. He was chill with people being there. Me and this other guy were just there. I was trying to be nice to him, help him out. try to push him through. The other guy was holding his hand through this process. It was the weirdest experience, perhaps ever. Maybe. Except for these other experiences, actually. Nonetheless, it was fantastical and very funny. He was struggling at the end of it, and he stood up and he was like, nope, I can't do this. He was walking around the studio. He was not a fan of the idea of finishing, and he literally had like 2 lines left. But I think he did go back and finish it, as far as I remember. No idea how it healed. I don't even remember if I ever saw him again after that. Maybe I did. I think maybe I actually did, like, maybe once, and it was kind of like, hey, you, that was funny, hey. But it was funny. I feel like it was like a silly little interesting bonding experience that I'll remember forever, and it's just kind of that was an interesting time. That was interesting. That was definitely a notable experience that has happened in my life. But it was a party. It was funny. I think it was wholesome. So I think of it and think silly thoughts of hee hee ha ha. That was fun. But nonetheless, there you go. That's my first story. The tube tat is what we would call it. Next, we're going to go to the slightly more unfortunate story, and then we'll end on a more fun one. All right. Well, that was number 1. Let's go to number 2. And story number 2, the spooky tattoo experience. So one day, during my apprenticeship, I walked into the shop, just a normal day, a normal session. I had some type of shifts back in the day, because I did walk-ins when I was an apprentice, so I had some shift, whatever day that was, and I was going to go in. I was then told by my mentor, hey, you have a challenge today. You have a challenge. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's something to test you so that you can learn things and how to deal with certain people when you tattoo. And I was like, oh, interesting. I have not seen anyone else get one of these. Why did I get one? And what does this mean? What's the severity of this situation? I didn't think it could be that big of a deal. So I was chilling. They told me at some point, like, oh, he's going to show up at around this time or something like that. I can't quite remember. But that's what I was told, and I was like, okay. Alrighty. And I feel like that's about what I remember hearing at about that time. This guy came in. Nice enough guy. I could not understand most anything he was saying. It was noticeable that he must be on some things, perhaps, or off of things, perhaps. I remember asking him a couple times, and he said, nope, I'm 100% sober. I've actually been sober for this long. And I was like, okay. Mind you, again, kind of, I don't know, you can judge me if you want for this, but like, it was during my apprenticeship. I wasn't really sure kind of what the protocol was, and I was told to do this, and I was afraid that I was going to get fired if I didn't do this. So I decided, okay, well, he says that it's fine. He signed the paperwork. He says he's sober. I'm supposed to do this as my job. Okay, I guess I'll give him a tattoo. So I was going to give him a tattoo. And I was having a very hard time trying to figure out what he meant by all these things. I think they were just kind of an amalgamation of some things. It was fairly simple of a design, but nonetheless, this design also had color. Again, I had a very hard time understanding what this guy was saying to me almost the entire time. But I remember him wanting color, and we had a very, very hard time figuring out the color. And the reason why it was slightly challenging to figure out the color was because he was colorblind. And sometimes it's really inconvenient picking out colors when you want them to be specific colors. However, you can't particularly pinpoint them because of your unfortunate eye coloring thing. So nonetheless, we were kind of just really going back and forth for a really long time trying to figure out and confirm colors, because I didn't want to mess this up. I was already stressed out about the situation. He was just overall weird. He was a nice enough guy, but I was definitely felt threatened because I was scared. This was new. I don't know what I'm doing. And he was like really, really close to me and really like quiet and just kind of weird. And it was just like, ooh, I feel like I don't know what's gonna happen. I couldn't tell if he was cool, and I couldn't tell if he was not cool. I was not sure. I was confused. I wasn't sure. So I was doing what he asked, It was a very long process as far as I remember. It was very awkward and very confusing, but I got through it, and he seemed happy enough with it, and he went on his way. And as far as I know, I believe maybe that night or recently, right after that time, is when, I think it was like literally after he left, was when I was informed that the reason that this was the situation that they put me in was they wanted to see if he would do something, because they recognized that I have a background in martial arts. They wanted to see what I would do to him if he tried to do something, aka if he were to try to touch me or do something particularly egregious or not cool or creepy or gross. They wanted to see me, I guess, fight this dude. I was, again, 18 years old, a small young girl, in my apprenticeship. Probably like a few months, no longer than a year. I was only in the apprenticeship for a year. Nonetheless, that was a very scary situation. I was not cool with that. That made me feel very uncomfortable, but I was also at the same time like, I don't know how normal this is. I've never been in this industry. How am I supposed to know? So it just was what it was, I suppose. I accepted that was, I guess, a thing that happened, and that's just normal, I suppose. But nonetheless, after that point, I can't remember how late it was after that, so it must have been fairly early in my apprenticeship, because I remember him coming back, and I was still definitely at that shop. He came back like at least a month or two later. Dude was, oh, I forgot a thing about the first part of this story. Okay, nonetheless, no, I was told after I tattooed him also that literally he came in to ask to get a tattoo like a couple hours before, and he was literally crawling into the building, I was told. Like, they were laughing and telling me that he was crawling into the building up to my mentor to ask, like, hey, I want a tattoo or whatever. And then they just decided to give it to me, I guess. I don't know why, me particularly. But nonetheless, yeah, he was like crawling in, and they were like, yes, an 18-year-old should definitely tattoo this man. This is a fantastic scenario that can only go well. So yeah, that's also a thing that totally happened. I totally forgot about that. That was like a super wild part of the story that I feel like is important. Nonetheless, no, he came in a couple months later, and he was like a totally normal guy. Like, he was definitely still weird. Like, there was definitely like still some kind of things about him that were like, oh, you're kind of strange, but like, that's fine, whatever. You're just kind of a silly guy. But he was so much clearer. I could understand everything that he was saying, and it was trippy. And he was a totally nice guy. He was totally chill. He was great. He was a very, very nice dude. It was very strange, but a far better time, so I wasn't mad about it. It was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, that was a very weird experience, and definitely a more gross, icky one for sure, because I don't have that many super like icky ones, but that one's definitely one that's unfortunately just a little sad. But it was, I don't know, I mean, no matter what, it did most certainly teach me something, I guess, and that isn't a, yay, thanks, mentor, it's just, yay, good that life at least gives you lessons and can create a better version of myself or more character off of these things, I suppose. That's something, so thanks, guys, but I don't know. It is what it is. But nonetheless, that is 2 stories so far. We do have one more. I definitely feel like these aren't very long, super crazy stories, so I don't know. I don't want to ramble, though, you know? I don't want to go too wild with it, so I'm gonna try to keep myself careful. But nonetheless, we've got one more story, and then perhaps some more rambles. I've got some ideas and some talks and some little updates about my life and all that I can tell you about. But nonetheless, let's go on to our 3rd story. So this is actually a question I get a lot. So I feel like this is one that people are going to be especially intrigued by. Very, very often, especially new clients that I get in, almost always tend to ask me, what's the most wild tattoo that you've ever done? And I always think, and it always just goes back to one, because unfortunately I don't have that many cool, interesting, silly haha tattoos, but I definitely do have one that I feel like absolutely fits the bill, and I think is very, very funny. So, let's set the scene. Apprenticeship times. This is very, very, very early on in my career. I have this couple come in. This couple even has a baby, a new baby. Fairly new at least-ish. It was the two of them and this child, and this individual wanted, the gal of this situation, wanted a tattoo. So I was gonna give her a tattoo. You know, it's what I was gonna do. Nonetheless, while I am preparing to do this tattoo and get this stencil ready, she starts losing her mind a little bit. She is having a little bit of a hard time. She is scared about the procedure. She's struggling. Totally fair. It's one of those things. I get it. It's scary. I am really not a big fan of needles. I do not like shots. I am a total baby for shots and piercings. I still freak out for tattoos. Absolutely 100%. So I was still fairly new to this, so I was definitely nervous because it's like, okay, how do I comfort her in the way that I can, like, truly actually comfort this woman? Like, I don't know. I'm younger than she is. You know, it's like, I don't know what I can do, but I'll try. So I was trying to be as nice as I possibly could to her. I was telling her, like, hey, it's okay. Like, we can do it if you want. If you don't want to, we totally don't need to. That's absolutely okay. And she's like, no, I really want to get it. I was like, okay, then we can totally put it on. And I was like, we're just gonna put it on. You can see how it looks. Go from there. So we put it on. She's happy with it. We end up actually getting into the tattoo. She's freaking out a little bit, but she's dealing. I get done with one chunk of it in a place where we could be fine to stop. And I say, hey, we could stop right now. Do you want to keep going? Because she's still crying. She's still having a hard time through this. And I was like, okay, I'll just kind of keep going through each little bit of this. And if she has to quit out on me, we can quit out easy, make it really simple, or we could keep going. So we keep going. And halfway about through this male part of the equation looks at me, and he's like, hey, would you do a pee-pee tattoo on my gluteus maximus cheek right now for free? What do you think I said? What do you think I say to such a request like that? A free tattoo on some random guy of a pee-pee on his ass? Of course I did it. I said an immediate yes, because I'm an apprentice. Like, I shouldn't even be making money. Like, it's fine. Like, I should, but, like, at this point, I wasn't expecting to make money. So I was like, oh, of course I'll do a free tattoo. In some more practice, like, of course I'm going to take that, especially for something like this. So I said yes. He looks at me a little bit surprised, but decides, yes, this is what we're doing. And he still goes along with it. He's like, okay, I was not expecting you to say yes, but you know what? I asked you, so we're gonna do it. And I was like, okay, fully up to you. We don't have to, but if you really desire, I'm here, and I will do it. So we are looking through photographs while we finish this tattoo on the lady part of the equation. She's happy with the tattoo. Everyone's happy. Yay! She thinks it's really silly that this guy's getting this tattoo. Everyone's like, haha, this is funny. He asks me, do you know if this could get me out of the military? I don't know. And I was like, how would I know? I don't know. If that's something that you worry about, then we probably should not do this. And he's like, should be fine. And I was like, okay, that's up to you. Again, I was an apprentice. I don't know. But I mean, it was fun. Anyways, so that happened. We'd finished the other tattoo. We, like, legitimately, it was already really late, but nonetheless, we were going through photographs of this tube section of a male anatomy for so long, and I'm talking like legit pictures. And we were trying to find one that we felt like really worked. And I told him, like, hey, we're gonna have to do this a good size. I want to go full detail. I want to go hard on this. That's funny. I did not mean to say that. We did, however, nonetheless, it was an easy, good at least 4 to 5 inches, for sure. Big. Not just the tube, but too. The little marbles as well. It was so detailed. Especially for being like an apprentice type of so detailed, I guess. It's not super, super detailed, but like my first try at realism was that tattoo. So as detailed as kind of I could comfortably get at the time, especially on such skin as the butt cheek. And yes, that is indeed where it went. Right on this guy's gluteus maximus. Yep. 4 to 5 inches. Straight on there. Realistic. It was wild. It was so funny. He was FaceTiming his friends. He FaceTimed his mom, talking about it, showing it off. He was losing his mind. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. It was a party and a half. Everyone was having the time of their lives that night. And it was at like 12:30 in the morning. So, morning, I guess. So, super late while we were doing this on a random, like, Tuesday or something. When I'm expecting to do these little dainty tattoos. And then I walk out of the shop with a photograph and the knowledge that I just did a pinot tattoo on a man's butt cheek. That's what I did. And it was really funny. It was awesome. It was a very hilarious time. If you really want to see it, I should still have a photograph. I do not believe I accidentally deleted that. I just barely, did a bunch of deleting off of my phone because I had, no storage. Oh, too many tattoo photos. But nonetheless, yeah, I deleted a bunch of stuff, so hopefully I still have it, but I, of course, cannot show it here. I'm not trying to get in trouble that soon at all. That'd be very unfortunate. But, yeah, if you want to see that, you can, DM me on Instagram, and I can send it to you if you do so desire. Because it is a very funny time, and you can only imagine how funny it was. And then you see the photograph, and it's so much more funny. I've mentioned this story, once or twice, maybe, on TikTok before, so some people have heard it before, so hence people have messaged me to ask for the photographs before. I feel like everyone's been very pleased to see the evidence, because it was truly just fantastical. So, nonetheless, those were some funny little times during my apprenticeship. Apprenticeships tends to be that way. There always tends to be something, and I feel like that's kind of the character of it, at least, is, well, at least you can look back and remember that that's where you came from, and now you're here. And there's at least some appreciation in that, so I try to at least appreciate that. And I mean, I did learn, maybe more or less just from doing it on myself and looking at other apprentices that were also figuring it out, We were also new to this. It's like blind leading the blind, and it's just not the most fantastic of circumstances, but I mean, unfortunately that is normal, so I'm definitely not here to say feel bad for me. It was a party. We go through things, and now we're out here on the YouTube lands drawing and painting Fae. And these are Fae. I wanted to make sure I got those cute little stories out, but I did want to at least kind of explain what I'm doing here. So this is an artwork that I'm making for a coworker of mine. He gave me a fantastically beautiful tattoo, and I love it so much. So I thought I would repay him with some art, and that's what I did. And this is the art that I created. It was all kind of intuition and just how I felt like things should be done. And lots and lots and lots of layers, as you can tell. Just a lot of feeling and a lot of love went into this, because I think that that's where I really can create with art, is I just need to start falling in love with the little lines and the little things that I create, and wanting to develop those and make those more interesting, and just seeing what my brain wants to do, I suppose. Because my brain wants to do things, and I want to put that on something so that you can see it. I don't know, it's just an image of my head, is all of what art is that I create. All of it is an image from what my brain can comprehend, not like a thing that I see in my head that I want to draw. It's my subconscious, it's my everything, it's my ego, it's my heart and soul and everything that is me, truly, but just in a form that we can visualize. And I feel like that's what art is, just in general. I feel like for a lot of people, in some capacity, even if that's not particularly intentional, I think it is just there inherently. I don't know, that's my feeling. I don't know, I feel like I wanna talk more about this, but I feel like it's not something that I can just put in its own video, I guess, except for like little videos. But like, art is magic to me. It's a type of spell work. It's a type of magic to me in any capacity that magic is, I guess, to who I am. And everyone can feel differently about what that might be to them. But to me, it's like a tarot reading, or like looking back at your dreams and wondering what these things and those things mean, and kind of conjuring up an understanding for the symbolism of those. And to me, this is just it's like a dream. Art is like a dream somehow. It's not quite understood fully by me because I can never fully quite understand my brain, at least not at this moment, and I hope to get closer to that. But I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I feel like I can pick symbolism away from this and start thinking about, like, oh, why did I do it like this? Maybe it's because I think of this, or I think of myself this way, or I project this way, or I want to look this way, or whatever. Like, I can pick up so many little tiny things from things because it's me, I suppose. And I feel like that's why others might connect to paintings as well. So, like, maybe to the brain of someone that isn't particularly super creative, or an artist, or maybe you are creative and you just look at other things, could be anyone, but nonetheless, when someone connects to artworks from others, I feel like it's like your subconscious telling you something. It's like the painting, or it, or you, or something is speaking to you in some capacity, in the way of course you like that thing, but it's also speaking to you. There's something about that means something to you, or it's telling you something, like a reading. A card pops out for a reason. Perhaps a painting that you look at that you love means something. I don't know. Maybe I love Van Gogh for not just the sentimental value of seeing Starry Night above my dad's bed every day growing up, but maybe there's some connection to why I appreciate Van Gogh's art style and how it's kind of choppy and almost dissociative in a way that makes sense to me. Or maybe just his life story I feel like I can connect with, or the colors just feel cozy to me in some capacity, and I don't know, maybe I'm seeking calm and that's why I like those blues. I don't know. It's interesting to think of art in that capacity, and maybe it's kind of like that, the English class type of thing of deconstruct the sentence for the next hour and a half and tell me all of the reasons this and that and this and this could be the meaning of this thing. I don't know. But still, I think things can just be thought about in a lot of different ways, and you can think about things from all sorts of different perspectives in a way that I feel like makes at least me feel like things make sense slightly more. And maybe they open up other questions as well, but certain things make sense. And that's kind of satisfying, I guess. So, as a little update, because I feel like this is kind of where my long form, more discussion-based stuff can be. Sorry, people are making sounds. I don't know if you can hear that. Hopefully you can, but maybe you do. Nonetheless, a lot has been happening in my life. A whole lot. Mostly health-related things. A lot of things that I'm trying to figure out and hoping very much that I can figure out. A number of different things have been done procedure-wise, as well as other tests, as well as hopefully very near tomorrow, future tests, or more information can be figured out. So I'm in a place where I'm really trying to figure out a lot because it's been getting really rough. Everything's been hard to do. Literally everything. And it's been hard. And it hasn't been this hard in a really, really long time. So I'm doing my best. I'm trying, and I'm excited that I'm finally feeling the energy to finish this video and get it out to peoples and show my art, because I really don't show a lot of my other art mediums, and these ones mean so much to me, and I really want to show them. So I'm very excited to do that, and I want people to see cool stuff. So yay! There you go. There's a little jig for you. an auditorial jig, I suppose. A jingle. There's a jingle for you, rather. But yeah, life's been just wild. It's been a lot, but I'm really trying. I don't even know how well you can hear me here. This is the first time I'm like really trying everything. I've got my Yeti microphone, I've got my laptop, and I'm looking at it. I got a professional camera that I purchased that I used for this entire thing. I really hope the visuals are nice. I'm really trying to figure out the ISO and all of the things. If you know a thing or two about camcorders, or know a thing or two about things that could make this better, please, any information would be just fantastical. I really do appreciate it. It really means a lot. Any type of help, any discussions, those are always my jam and my favoriteest things ever. I would like to hear about what you feel about my stories. Hopefully they're entertaining and not horrendously embarrassing or a bad idea that I shared. Hopefully they were reasonable and good. But yeah, nonetheless, I thought it'd be fun to kick it off with something joyous. I'm really kind of in a stage of trying to learn a lot about where my brain is and who I am and about myself and where I want to go and how I want to improve and become more me. And I'm working on it. And I'm seeing the pieces coming together. And I'm seeing parts of myself that have to slow down so that I can keep going. Parts of me that have to really focus on trying to get better. So that I can move and do things and have the quality of life that I know I can if things get better and if things get figured out and if I understand what's going on. So it's just one of those things that really sucks a whole lot when you really want to do your passion and the thing that you truly feel like is what you're supposed to do on this planet, you know? It's one of those things. But I really hope to feel better and get going and really do cool stuff, because I really want to do cool stuff, and I want to show y'all cool stuff, and I want to see other people do cool things and try to make the most out of things. With that said, I know a lot of people are really scared about the world right now and a lot of things, and I think just in general, not even talking about really the outside forces, but internally I feel like a lot of people are really struggling right now. I've seen it with so many folks that I know, and I don't know, it's something recently. Something in the water, I don't know, man. And I really hope things get better, because we all need a little break every now and again, right? Come on. I don't know, I really hope so. I hope we get there, but we'll see. We just gotta keep working, gotta keep trying, gotta keep working, as in working on the things that truly make us better, get us in the best situations, get us the things that we need to live, and yeah, keep going. All that good stuff. So, I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying, and I hope that you guys can all do that as well. I keep looking down and realizing my face is so far away. But I can't tell how different it is. I can't tell if I'm super loud or super quiet. I don't understand how to, like, balance audio and stuff. So hopefully I can start figuring that out, because I don't want to, like, hurt you guys. I don't want to injure my buddies over here on YouTube lands. That's just mean. I really, truly don't mean it if that ends up happening. I am so sorry. Sorry about it. Okay, so let's, like, just a little bit maybe perhaps get into, like, the actual artness of this. So nonetheless, this is really nice paper. It's the Arches watercolor paper. This one is the hot pressed paper, and I have never tried hot pressed, but hot pressed is super smooth, which I've always been a fan of. Anytime I'm trying to get, like, any type of paper or canvas or anything, I like it as smooth as possible. So that's why I like wood, and that's why I like this paper. And this is the first like real painting I've made with it. I've only used like 1 or 2 sheets. I need to use the other one still, but nonetheless, new paper, really like it. Super recommend if you like a smooth surface. It feels a lot more almost oil painty because of that, which is really nice. But I love it, and this is a new watercolor set. I love it. It's very nice. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. So this time I really wanted to utilize a lot of graphite because I wanted things to feel, I don't know, maybe I was just trying to get out there and experiment a little bit more than kind of anything. And I don't do a lot with graphite anymore. It's been really a long time, so I decided I wanted to try again. So that's what I was going to do. And I then started realizing after layering a lot of my watercolors that I really liked the way that the graphite mixed with it, so I thought that was pretty cool. And so I was working with that for a little while, trying to figure out my tones. It was a lot of just kind of going with what felt right. Same thing really with the drawing, as I made like the one big first girl first, and I just liked the look, and then suddenly she became a fae, and then it just kind of went from there. And as we talked about, just kind of an intuitive thing, just kind of what feels right, and that's what I did. And I definitely had in mind the person that I was creating this for. But I also wanted to really try to stay true to myself and what felt right to me, and just hope that in the end it turned out to be something he'd like. And just hope that me truly expressing myself would get to that point, you know? So I worked with a lot of different things. I really liked the idea. Oh, you can even see the tattoo that he did on me. That tattoo is the one that he did on me. So that's kind of cool. Very meaningful. I love it so much. Nonetheless, yeah, I like the idea of working with mixed media. I've always been that type of person because it's like getting the benefits of all of the things. Why not get the benefits of all the things? So I really like to layer, and I have some different pens that do different things. That's why I have the white dots. I used a lot of the black pens for the backgrounds to add a little bit more intensity. And then I added a shimmery one, a shimmery pen. And that was really cool. That worked out really nice. And the mix of just all the different things just feels so different. I don't know. It makes it a lot harder to pinpoint what I used, and I like that. It's kind of fun. It makes it more of a mystery, and it's like, ooh, I want to look at this even more to understand more of what's going on, I guess, is what it feels like to me. I also use this matte finish. Tell me if anyone knows what's up with that, because it always clouds more than I want it to. It gets a little bit cloudy on the surface in certain areas, so it kind of took a while to kind of fix that on this, which totally was super lame, but oh well, I guess. And it always has, and I've always been really careful with it, but I've always been nervous that I would never use nearly enough to actually work, so I'd spray it like once in a little bit, but I don't know. And like, I did this outside in the cold also, so like, that totally probably absolutely did it, but like, I don't always do it then. I do it sometimes in summer too. I've had these things for a while, and you have to shake them for a while, so I do, and it just doesn't seem to help. I don't know. But nonetheless, look at that shiny. I think it's so pretty. I think it's so fun. I like really muted tones, if you notice. Big into muted tones. I really like the light stuff. I'm definitely a black and gray tattooer, so kind of adds up, but I also really do appreciate and love color. It's just something I tend to like a lot more muted. That's just more my jam. Ah, the heater turned on. I don't even know if you've heard the heater this whole time. I'm just realizing that could have messed up this entire thing. Well, sorry, we'll see. 1 second. Genuinely, I don't even know if I had the heater on the whole entire time. I'm gonna have to look back on that, and I'm so not hyped about it. But nonetheless, the heater was like off too. I twisted it all the way off, and it still turned on. Because when I went over there to turn it off, it wouldn't twist anymore. I was like, so it's off? This feels like a hazard. Because of course it's a hazard. These things are sketchy. Good idea. Always remember to, oh, make sure that you put a little tape on your camera, by the way, on your laptop. What was I even? Oh, yeah. I know people in barn unit. Be careful with heaters. Unplug them. Be careful with them. Be careful around babies and aminals and all the little things. So that's my PSA for today, just so y'all know. But, yeah. Nonetheless, I guess we're about done here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. That was a lot of talking about all sorts of different stuff, and I got real weird there at the end. But nonetheless, I really appreciate you being here with me. By the way, I had 2 songs stuck in my head during the whole time of making this. One is Rubber Ball by Cage the Elephant, and the other one is Fang Suave, I think is his name, Venus Flytrap. Keep those in mind and listen to them. Very, very good songs. Nonetheless, I'm really happy with this. I'm really excited about it. I hope that you like it. I'd really like to hear opinions about all of the little things. That really, really is awesome. I hope to see you guys around. I really appreciate you being here. It really does mean a lot to me, and I would love to create a little discussion group and community on here. Let's hang out. Let's do stuff. Let's talk, you know? Let's continue to create art and try to be cool people and be reasonable and all that jazz. I think that would be fantastical, and I'd love to see y'all doing that as well. Thank you for sticking around with me. I hope that you have a good day, a good night, a good whichever, and I will see you around, hopefully. Thanks. I really appreciate it. And bye! I'll see you around. Thanks for being here. It means a lot.